Hello, and welcome back to City Skylines with Splatt. In today's episode, we're going to check out the two new content creator packs that came out at the same time as the Plazas and Promenades DLC. So let's check out the Mid-Century Modern pack and the amazing Seaside Resorts. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Dave. Dave is happy. Do you know why Dave is so happy? Because Dave likes to go fishing. He likes to sail the crystal clear blue waters of the bay, reeling in net after net of fish in order to sell them and pay for his Netflix binging habits. But sometimes Dave is not happy. Today is one of those days. Do you know why Dave is not happy? Because he lives in a city that doesn't have a name. He can't understand why no one will name his beautiful city with a beautiful name. And this makes Dave sad. And when Dave is sad, he catches sad fish. But fear not, Dave, for today we are going to right this wrong. In fact, the great people of YouTube have voted from a selection of many names and have chosen a beautiful, epic name for this city. But because the people of YouTube have a very sick sense of humor, they voted for the one that I cannot pronounce. But here, before your eyes at this very moment, are the results of our naming poll, based on city names that you posted in the comments. As you can see, the one at the top is the really long one that I can't pronounce because I'm not French. But you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot because this is my city and this is my channel, and I'm gonna pronounce it the way that I think it should be pronounced, and we're just gonna have fun with it. I'm sure you guys are all gonna roast me in the comments and tell me how terribly wrong I am, but here goes nothing. The winner of our great name poll is Saint Splattouge-sur-Mer. Believe it or not, I did kind of look that up to try to figure out how to say it, and I'm not sure if it's Saint Splattouge or Saint Splattouge. I think it was pronounced both ways on the internet, but I'm gonna go with Splattouge. So Saint Splattouge-sur-Mer. Everybody can give a big round of applause to Turbo Pepsi, who had the sense of humor to submit that name, knowing full well that I can't pronounce it, and I'm sure that Turbo Pepsi is sitting there giggling in Turbo Pepsi's seat at my sad and sorely mistaken pronunciations. But I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments how it's actually supposed to be said, but for now, that's what we're gonna do. Alright, so as we still have a lot more work to do on our city, we look down here and see that we have demand for residential. And that would be very helpful as well, because I need to get my tax revenues up to pay for these new pedestrian areas here. The plazas and pedestrians are expensive and they don't raise a lot of money. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but it is a little bit of a drain on my resources. So I'm looking at taking this place here in the middle and turning it also into a residential area. Now we have a lot of high density residential that we've already put in the back, and so I'm thinking that what we're actually going to want to do is put in some low density residential right in here and incorporate a nice bus route to pull people from this area to our tram stops on the main road so that we don't get a whole lot of traffic. So let's take a look at running some roads around and setting things, and I want this to be a little more organic looking and not quite as much of the square city blocks like we did up here. And so we're just gonna kind of free flow it and eyeball it and see how it goes. So let's drop some roads in and see what happens. So as I'm dropping these roads in, the game has decided to lower them all down to a somewhat ridiculous level, but that's probably because this space in the middle is lower than this up here, and I don't like the looks of that. So all I have to do is come in here with my Move It mod and highlight these different nodes here. By holding down Shift, I can select all the nodes at once. And what I'm gonna do is push Control H on my keyboard, which allows me to use a tool that matches the level of another segment or node. Everything that I've selected, everywhere this white cursor is, I can use this cursor And if I click on a spot, it's going to raise all of the other nodes that I've selected up to be level with that. And there we go. That's a quick way that you can go through and fix some of the issues that you're having. And so now that I've done that, then I just go through and I work on particular nodes that still need to be leveled out a bit. And I just click on a node, Control H, on another node that I want to match, and away I go. So let me do that a little bit more and get this all straightened out, and then we'll put the roads in here in the middle that I want, and we'll see how it goes. We've got the roads all put in for our new little low density residential area, and I went ahead and replaced the trees in the road with these little bushes, and I want to give a new content creator pack a try. So we're gonna go to themes, and I have created a content creator pack called Mid-Century, and this is making use of all of the new buildings that are included in the content creator pack right here, and it's a low density residential pack, and these are the Mid-Century content creator pack that just came out, and I want to give these buildings a try and see how they look in our new residential area. It doesn't seem to come with any commercial stuff except for high density, so we'll have to deal with that later, but let's go ahead and turn it on and then get some services put in, get this zoned in, and see how we do. I added this Nova City Primary School that I got off the Steam Workshop because I think it's going to match the architecture of the area pretty well, and I like that. I also popped in a couple of these corner playgrounds that I like, and made by the same guy that does the flowery passages that I've been using. And I think we're ready to see what grows in here and see how this thing goes. So let's give it a shot. So these aren't bad. I did go through and add in some paths and some vegetation just to fill things in so it wouldn't look quite as empty, but I like these houses and I like these models, and there's some really cool props that you can use with these. I'm also a sucker personally for low density residential. I just like the whole suburban feel. So I think I'm definitely going to be using a little bit more of this, and I might expand this out as we still have some residential demand. We'll see. In my opinion, this has gone well enough that I want to expand on this concept and perhaps add in a little more right in here in this section around the modern high school building that I put in to service those guys. So let's get some roads thrown in here as well and see what we come up with. So I gotta be honest and say that I'm really digging this new pack. I like the mid-century houses. I like the way they look. I like the layout. I'm a sucker for low density suburban residential anyway, and these are a great addition to the game. I do think it wouldn't hurt if they had some extra props, but you can always add those in yourself, which is okay. And now we have to decide what we want to do next. And I'm thinking more residential. I'm not sure if I want to use this content creator pack again, though I'm really digging the look and I like the way that it applies to the city. So let's take a look around and see what else we can do for some residential to get more people in, get our tax base up, and get ready to build that resort later. So I'm thinking I want to fill in this area over here with the rest of my residential area. And one thing though is that this fish warehouse factory thing right here is kind of noisy, so I'm a little hesitant to put some buildings right next to it. These buildings here, I think are actually going to go, because in the content creator pack, if you click on your parks tab down here, you'll see that they've actually put in like some hotels from that style, but also there's like a roadside diner and a few other things. And I want to play around with putting those in just to create a little bit of a noise barrier between these two things. And then over here, I'm thinking a few little shops just to keep the houses away from the sound of this warehouse and give a little shopping area, just kind of fill things in a little bit. So let's take a look at doing that. The game is paused. We're gonna get our little bulldozer tool here. We're gonna say goodbye to you, goodbye to you, goodbye to you, and Mr. Fence, goodbye to you. We're gonna say goodbye to all of these trees because saying goodbye while hard can be healthy, and in this situation, it's very healthy because we need this space. We're going to dezone it. There you go. And we're gonna take a look at putting the zoning in here so that I can actually put things along this road. There we go. Okay, you go away. All right, cool. So how big is this roadside diner? Will that fit in here? What if we anarchy it in? We make it work. Which way is the front? Oh, is that the front? Is there a front door? This looks like the back, so why did it face that way when I put it on the road? Did I do something wrong here? Okay, well, what if we put it in this way? Oh, okay, I put it on the wrong road. I'm an idiot. It's my fault, not the game's fault. I know it's gonna be a shock to you, but we can probably move it, mod that around a little bit and just squeeze that right in. Yeah, it kind of covers the sidewalk up, but it's not the end of the world. It doesn't really, there's a slope. I guess it needs to come up just a little bit. That looks stupid. Okay, we'll go back down. I like how the mid-century modern building, you know, this is supposed to be like 50, 60, something like that, has electric car charging, but hey, I don't judge. Okay, we got a little thing over here, so let's cover all that up. Yeah, I think we can probably fit that in there. We got a little diner. Let me look at these props and see if I can figure out something that I want to do in this little spot here, just to use some props and decorate this out. All right, so I used a combination of the new assets that came with the content creator pack with some stuff that I already had and the prop anarchy tool, and I built this little dessert ice cream patio thing next to the cafe, and I like this a lot. So it's got a little ice cream thing. I got this out of the new Plazas and Promenades content pack, that prop, and this is something off the Steam Workshop, I believe. And the rest of these came with the mid-century pack as well. So we got our little roadside diner here. I put some bushes out front and some planters just to fill in some of that gray space, and I added some more parking around back because again, it looked a little bit bland with just that in it. And I think this is a nice little breakup between the residential area and this factory over here. Keeps a little gap between the two. So now we're ready to look over here at this flat area here that we're going to turn into a little shopping area. So I wonder if we could get away with using some plazas and promenades here and just make it a walking only area. That could be interesting. Let's take a look. Okay, so I've got this area built in. I've put just one little strip of commercial buildings in, and I picked the ones that I wanted and plopped them in. And the rest of the way I just went with a theme that matched what I had already on the other side with the mid-century houses here. And I really like the way it turned out. I got some paths with some palm trees on the sides, kind of just blocking this in. And everybody's got a way to get around. There's a library here for people to use. There's some parks in the back with some trees, some beach volleyball on the side. I'm really happy with this, and I think it turned out nice, and it's a nice little addition to finish off our new housing development that we've put in with this theme. And I think our experiment with the mid-century housing theme has been a success, and I really, really like this. I don't know how often we're going to be able to use it, because on this map we just don't have as much space to build, and we need to get our population up, but you know, for an urban sprawl look, it's really, really nice, and it fits the tropical theme that we've got going on very, very well. So I'm super happy with that. So a while back, we messed around with the area near this little fort thing. And we also messed around a little bit at the very beginning of our city with this old graveyard over here. And I have not forgotten these. They've been neglected for a couple of episodes because I was busy with other things. But now I think it's time for us to actually decorate these out and turn them into something interesting. And I think for this one over here, and then this castle that we have up on the hill up here, I'm going to turn both of these into a national park and use the park assets for that. And I'm going to connect them both together so that we can turn these into something very cool. I have some really neat ideas for this area up here with the new content creator pack that came out. There are for the resorts, because you don't have to use all the resort buildings down by the beachfront. Resorts can come in any location, and so I have some really neat ideas to turn this into kind of a bed and breakfast kind of resorty stay place up here and get it all decorated out. So let's give that a shot and see what happens. All right, initially what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to put in the national park area. So let's go ahead and paint a park area in around this thing. And we're gonna just use all of this area around here because this mountain, to be perfectly honest, is not gonna be super useful for doing any building as far as like residential or industrial or anything like that. So we're gonna bring that in. We're gonna bring it all the way down to the river because I have a plan to use some of this riverfront area as part of the national park, just to make it a little bit more beautiful and attractive. And then I wanna drag it over here and paint this in so that this all becomes part of the park as well. And then we're gonna right click, we're gonna turn that off. Oh, I ran over my other park. I'm gonna have to go back and fix that. Okay, let me go in here and fix our little park here that we messed up. Sorry about that. All right, that's all put back. So we painted that in, and now we're gonna have to figure out how we wanna start this thing off and where we wanna put the park assets, because like everything, if you wanna do a national park, you have to have a front main gate entrance. We can do a small one, or we can do a large one. And I call this a national park. I should have called it a nature reserve. I think I wanna do the big one, and I think I want to bring a road off in this area that we can actually use to put the big one in. And we're gonna put like a little parking lot in here as well for people who want to start their adventure at the nature reserve. So I think it's gonna go right over here. So we need to do a little bit of terrain manipulation to flatten out an area to put this building in. So I'm just gonna grab my brush here. I'm gonna right click to get that as the level. And then I'm just gonna pull this up a little bit, just like that. And that's gonna give us a place to put a parking lot and an entryway in. So we need a road. If I go to rule, I have these forest paths, which are kind of cool. And I'm curious if they would look good if I did this all the way up here and turn this into like a heavily, and I mean really heavily, forested area. I have got a really neat idea for a forest brush so we can mix all this up and make it look a little bit cooler. Okay, I don't want to upgrade that because it's going to destroy all that stuff. What do I think? Yes, I will keep. That's going to work for now. And then I can come through and I can actually change the trees out on this road later to match whatever I put in, because right now it's got a bunch of green trees with the foliage down there. Okay, so let's grab that road again. And this time we're gonna pull it off. How big is that main area? Okay, not so large. The little one, okay, yeah, but okay, it's not huge. We could put that, we can definitely like put that in there. Okay, let's grab our road, and people can pull in here and they're immediately going to come off that road and come across like that. And we're gonna start I want the parking lot, I think, closer to the highway. So let's actually pull this up more like this. I forgot to, I did click on my curvy, but it didn't cooperate. Like a gentle curve. There you go, something like that. And then we can take this and we can drop it right there. And that's gonna unlock some stuff that we can use. A side gate and some tents and things. And because I had Anarchy on, that did not destroy the things that it was supposed to destroy when I got put it in. So oh, it did, okay. Oh, I see. All right, well, let's pause the game. And let's put a parking lot in. Now, I wish I could just do a gravel parking lot. I don't necessarily want a concrete one. And I don't know if I can get away with that. I think possible. Pull up our parking lot roads. All right, so these are the parking roads that we have. Let's say I do a medium-sized one here. How does that look? I mean, it's not the end of the world if it's not a gravel parking lot. I wonder if I can use the surface painter tool to change this to gravel. No, I can't. I was afraid of that. So instead of it being a real parking lot, we're gonna come in here and just build one with the surface painter tool. So I'm gonna grab my gravel. I'm just gonna I'm gonna draw in a little bit of gravel here. Something like that there. And now we need to put a border around this. And I have a couple of options here. And one of the ones that I have that I think I might want to try, I'm experimenting with this as we go. I've never done this before. I have these curb tools that I could try, but I also have these here. I think I want to try the curb tools. Let's try these and see how these work. Make sure we don't have any snapping on. Okay, so these things come with the big parking lots pack that I got off of the Steam Workshop. And are any of these, and we could just go with the plain old boring concrete ones, which I think is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna do something like that. And we're gonna move it mod. Okay, so it doesn't like the hill. That's unfortunate. Can I bring it up? Okay, I can. All right, we're gonna do that. Oh, so that becomes kind of transparent. I've never used these before, so I'm kind of trying to figure this out as I go. The surface painter overlaps those, so that is not going to work. Okay, I don't know why the surface painter is overlapping those. Let's try a smaller curb with the grass inside and see if the surface painter overrides that. There we go. All right, so those get pulled in like that. And then we go back to our surface painter. We're gonna erase that. And we're gonna draw that. All right, we're making progress. We're gonna hide this under the road a little bit. Go back to where you were. You know what? We're not gonna hide it. We'll put some bushes around it, I think. All right, like that. And so the cars are gonna come in here and they're gonna park. So now let's find some parking decals and see if it'll let me put those on top of the surface painter. Will it let me do? It will, good. All right, so we can come in here. We're just gonna drop some parking in. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that's how you make a gravel parking lot for a nature reserve. That looks pretty nice, if I do say so myself. One of the downsides is these are a network asset, so these curbs work pretty much like a fence does. And so the problem is I can't put trees on top of here, because normally I would put trees or a fence or something in here. but I decided I needed this curbing to bring the gravel painting in and make it look better. And that is what it has done. And I think it looks all right. I went ahead and put some trees around it. I have a brush that I've built out of some of the tree assets that I've picked up on the Steam Workshop that adds a little color to the forest to make it look a little more interesting. So I painted some of those in, and I think this is looking quite spectacular myself. I'm very happy with this. These little leaf props really add a little bit of texture and balance to the build, and I'm excited. So we're ready to continue on with the actual construction of our nature reserve now. So we have a little path that can come off of here, and we're ready to start putting in a walkway that takes us up to this castle. So let's have at it. Okay, so we have some walking paths put in. I converted this little section here to a bridge so that the walking path could go under the road and continue on around and create some hiking areas. And the reason I'm doing this, I also brought this road around to the outside of the castle that wasn't here before. And the reason I'm doing that is because right here I have leveled off a bit of terrain. And I want to come in here to my unique buildings and come down here to the Seaside Resorts area. And I have chosen one of these Seaside Resort hotels that I really want to use. I want to use this one here, the Breakers Hotel. This is supposed to be on a beachfront, I'm assuming, historically speaking, but I think it's going to look really cool as kind of an alpine hotel kind of thing, which once I get the ground leveled out here a little bit so it actually fits into the landscaping, it's going to look pretty snazzy and nifty. So let's do a little bit of a little smoothie action here. The sloping tool, and there we go. All right, so we've got this hotel put in, and I think if I detail around this hotel and possibly even look into grabbing another one of these buildings, maybe a smaller one, to add in something that also has maybe some round architecture on it, I think that would look really, really neat up here. And I can also dig through some of my other assets and see if I have anything that would fit. One thing I'm considering is these fire stations. They have like old-timey fire stations, yeah, that they've brought in, which I think would also look really cool. And I believe there's even like an old-timey police. Here we go. Yeah, there's an old-timey historical police station, and there is a historical fire station. And I think these would look good up here just as some extra buildings to add some ambiance. They don't necessarily have to be fire stations, which is actually what they are, but I think they just add a little bit more, I don't know, texture and appeal to this area up here. And if we add those in, it's really going to add to what we're doing. So let me go ahead and smooth some more things out, put a few more of these buildings in, and let's see what we can do to make this place look really cool. So with some of these extra old-timey buildings put in, I really like the way this is starting to look. So let me go ahead and see if I can't decorate this out a little bit and make it look even better so that it fits into the whole theme up here. And we've got this little bed and breakfast kind of hotel thing that stays by the castle and fits in. So let me see what I can do. All right, so we have our little luxury hotel bed and breakfast thing put in, and I really like the way it turned out. We put another one of those gravel parking lots in the back, but this time I decided to use some stones to mark out the gravel area. We've got some beautiful trees and flowers in front, I added some color, and I really like the way this thing sets up against the beauty of the ocean and the city behind it. I'm really happy with how this turned out. This is the kind of stuff I love doing in this game. I just love doing decorating and putting things together. I don't know if I'm any good at it, but I really enjoy doing it, and I am happy with this. So I think we're ready to move on to just adding some regular assets to this district now to get it to level up, just so we can have access to some more fun stuff to play with. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That's going to happen down here by the river, where I intend to turn this field into a camping area. So let's get that going now. I dropped a few assets in just to make this work, and while it's leveling up, we're going to come over here to where we have this, and we're going to continue decorating this area in as well. So we put in a little military park here by the bunker, which I think looks kind of nice. It's got a statue of some dude in a cool helmet, which is always cool, and it's got 2 cannons, and cannons make everything better. I used the Better Landscaping Tools prop brushes to put all these in. I can just kind of show you how that works. So when you want to put something in using Better Landscaping Tools, which is a mod that I will not play this game without, and I think everybody should use it, Better Landscaping Tools, check it out. If you want to put in something like these flowers, normally if you were just putting in assets, you would just go in here and you would click one at a time. Like you would grab, I don't know, let's take a look. Here we go, some flowers right here, and you would just go click, click, click. That is boring and difficult, and it takes forever to put in something like that. So what you can do is you can choose your plant. You come over here, you've got a straight line brush or you've got a curve brush, and these work just like with fences and roads. And so if you click on the straight line brush, you then have this little thing right here, the options panel that shows up. And if you click on it, you can change the spacing of your plants. Normally the spacing of your plants are going to be something like this when you draw a straight line. It's just going to put in plants spaced every so far apart. But if you come in here and you pull this down, you can decrease the spacing, and eventually it puts all of them together, and you can get lines like that you put in, and voila, you get to overlap those lines with each other. You can build these big full areas full of flowers that are just colorful, and I really love this effect, and it works really well when you use it with some path props to create little gardens that you can put in. And I thought that just made this whole area pop a little bit more and made it more beautiful, and it fits in really well right there in the middle of our area, and it gives the people a reason to come over here and visit this bunker. We're at 5 stars now, and we're ready to take a little tour. So over here we have our parking lot that we put in. I had to upgrade the entryway to a 4-lane because we were having some major traffic issues. Who knew this place was going to be so popular? And over here we have our camping area with tent camping. We have some areas for boats. We've got some fishing cabins. We've got some other cabins for people to stay in. And generally we just turn this into a nice little recreational area. If we go up here, you can see that we've added in a few towers for viewing, a few platforms for seeing what the world has to offer, and we have our beautiful hotel here that we put in with our historic buildings that I think looks just absolutely epic. I'm very happy with the chance that we've had to check out these 2 new content creator packs. I really like the mid-century houses, and I'm really excited to try those in some different suburban builds, but the Seaside Resort assets are absolutely amazing, and you can use them in so many different places. I cannot wait to do an actual seaside resort, but I think I can envision some little bed and breakfasts and things happening in the future as well. But I think that's going to do it for today. We've done some nice building and detailing, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out so far and watching everything that we've done. If you have any suggestions, drop them in the comments down below. I really appreciate your time, and until next time, I'll catch y'all later.